Behold, a cold open. I saw a bus shelter ad, I should say. There's a difference. Bus ads on the moving bus make you go to the opera. Bus shelter ads
Are
horrify you.
deranged. They are. Actually, bus shelter ads are where we address society's illnesses. Like it's always like gambling help. Are you addicted to something? So Tom and I have both independently seen this bus shelter ad that has broken our fucking brain.
So what this ad is, and again,
It's a PSA, I guess. It's the intent is save children. Okay,
yes,
it's car safety for children.
Which cars kill a lot of children, so that's like really good. So
kids can die on the outside of the car. Kids can die on the inside of the car. There's just like a lot of stuff. But anyway, the ad is a picture of like a kid sitting in a car seat, and it says, "Make sure Mr. Chuckles is buckled in." And that is not a nickname for a child. That is a horse name.
I don't even think I wouldn't call my horse Mr. Chuckles. Mr. Chuckles to me oozes malice in all possible applications. To me, I told you about this. My first thought was that Patton Oswalt bit. I know it's cool now to say Patton Oswalt's a hack lib, and he is, but he had good bits back in the mid-2000s. One of which was that the edited for TV, safe for the whole family profanity is more horrific than actual profanity. Like Mr. Chuckles is like like Ice-T throws a file down on your desk and says they call him Mr. Chuckles, and I'm like, oh shit, Ice-T, you don't even need to say what Mr. Chuckles does. I hate it.
Don't
already.
say the second part. I'll just read it.
The other factor is Mr. Chuck. Like, kids don't chuckle. If kids
giggle. If they do they titter maybe, but they I would say they giggle.
Like, what is it? What is the factor that makes a laugh a chuckle? I would say nuance. It's
also not being a kid. I think being a kid filters you out from chuckling. It's like you can't drive yet and you can't chuckle yet.
You don't know about nuance yet. You're a little kid. You giggle, titter, or shriek with laughter. Those are your three levels.
I'm willing to accept that there's like exceptional children that chuckle very early. But generally speaking, no.
You gotta fucking read you gotta read Ivan Jeeves and Worcester stories so that he can become the chuckling child.
And also the fundamental issue with that ad is the communication message, which is make sure Mr. Chuckles is buckled in, to which I can rightfully respond, that's not my fucking kid. I don't know him. Yeah, it just has huge, like, never has interacted with a child vibes.
Yeah.
It's good, and it'll probably be on bus shelters for another 4 years.
It was. I cannot. So I drove past it a bunch of times with my wife, and each time we're like, "What the fuck is this Mr. Chuckles shit? Jesus Christ!" And then I assumed that this was like a pilot project. Like there was like only one Mr. Chuckles ad because like obviously no one would allow there to be multiple. And I'm like, Joe, you'll never believe this.
No, they scaled up. They scaled up so fast.
He already knew. It was incredible.
The other issue is it doesn't say what makes Mr. Chuckles safely buckled in. It just says, "Do it, idiot." I am so frustrated. Are you trying to save lives or make everyone look at this weird kid? Because it seems like you're spending a huge ad budget for the second one.
Watch it be like we assume this is the city trying to like get traffic deaths down. And what it is, if we read the fine print, it's like paid for by Mr. and Mrs. Chuckles Sr.
Oh my God. I would feel obviously very bad and rightfully so. But yeah, man. Don't trust that kid.
The person who thinks that Mr. Chuckles is like, that's a kid's nickname, is like if a kid was in their house to like visit, they'd be like, hand him a stapler and be like, this is what you like, right?
Yeah. Hand him a stapler and just be like, don't eat it all at once. Okay, bye.
That's a bad example because I'm thinking about a kid with a stapler given free reign. Like that's actually pretty fun. You can unfold it and like stick them in the wall. Actually, now I want to do that.
There's an amazing video of a kid running outside or on the outside of a above ground pool, and he has something in his knife, and his mom's like, "What do you got in your hand?" And then he shows us that's a knife.
No!
And the mom freaks out, but the comedic delivery on knife is so good.
What do you have? A knife! Well, kid, that kid, he's not chuckling. He's gleeful. This fucking sucks, Mr. Chuckles. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for genius and the only podcast where we talk about anime, gaming, posting, and jobs, which are the things that we talk about. I'm Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko.
We got two patrons. The first one has he's got the classic funny name. I love when people use their funny names instead of their real names. This guy's called Out Here Getting My Hitbox Snucked.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I like to see, or hear, rather.
Come on and slam. That is a pure jam. Next up is Cly, K-L-Y. I'm pretty sure Cly is a someone who had to drop and then came back. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
It's insane that anyone would come back.
Yeah, when people leave, it's over. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, I just feel like maybe this is just because I'm a bad person. If I was patronizing someone and I'm like, I'm out of money, I can't anymore, and then I got more money, well, maybe I would re-up. I don't know. I was about to say I wouldn't, but then
It's not a compelling argument either way.
I decided I've never actually thought about this situation before. It's actually kind of new to me. So, folks, I don't know if you know this about me and Joe, is that we're no longer young men and are out of touch with the new trends, which I mean, case in point,
I'm fine with. I don't really care. Even when I was young, I was still a weird guy. So this isn't much of an adjustment.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but like one thing to consider is that in our earlier days, we knew what was in, and we chose an alternative. Now it's just like a big question mark. For example, you didn't know that there was this hot new trend going around of having a working furnace on the coldest day of the year when it is 1 degree out.
Yeah. The only reason we are recording now is because our furnace again died. We got a guy who said, "Yeah, I can be there 7:30 tomorrow morning," and we were like, "Sure, we'll figure it out." And then the flurry of HVAC people we called previously started calling us back, and a guy was like, "Hey, I'm like right by you. Do you want me to come fix all your shit?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And he came and he did my favorite thing, which was communicate technical things quickly and thoroughly. The issue was that our awful fucking stupid Nest thermostat, the smart thermostat, another case, another piece of evidence that there should not be smart devices. There were thermostats before that were just thermostats. We should go back to that.
Yes, agreed.
But there was no common wire running from the furnace to the little Nest back panel thing. So he did that, which is also funny because like previous people have come to fix it, so they didn't think that was an issue, I guess, or maybe they unplugged it. I don't fucking know. But
there was also a fish in there.
Yeah. I feel like, I want to be clear, nothing good happened to me, but like the fact that I no longer have to pack up all our shit to maybe like relocate somewhere, it feels so amazing. I'm riding high off of like freedom from the logistical thinking of like, what are we cramming into the car? Because we did this last year with the cats, but now there's a baby, which is
like cat times 10.
Yeah, it's just like a really complicated cat.
I gotta say that from my perspective, just watching this unfold, in that time where it was not clear that the fix was coming, because the fix came pretty quick, which, as Joe, I can't emphasize that enough. Like, it was a matter of like single-digit hours.
Yeah, when they said, we called and he said, I can be there in 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, so he's like lying though, right? Like this is a sick game for him.
Yeah. It's like 20 to 600 minutes. No, he was there. Anyway, but in that period where it was unclear that help was coming, I was like more scared for Joe's safety that when I got the text from Winnie saying Joe has been institutionalized in the hospital for his safety.
Yeah, just because like I can't. That is so much life uprooting. It's, hey, you got to move now. Like you have to temporarily move. The most awful activity in all of life. You must do it just for one day. So like everybody gets out of touch. It's stupid to be like, music is different now. Who fucking cares? What we actually want to sort of analyze our out of touchness on something that's within our wheelhouse. It's like, oh, I'm not really up to speed in the latest house music. Well, that was never the case. So no surprise. But let's take something in our domain firmly. Video games.
We should know about that.
We objectively do. Our opinions are correct. But there's still stuff we don't know. So we joined the Kame House Boys on their stream briefly to watch the Game Awards. My first impression is that these jokes are not well written for the presenter.
We were watching like the pre-show where it doesn't have Jeff, and it has this woman who really does not have
the sauce.
She does not have the sauce to be a presenter, which Jeff also doesn't. So it's like it's not her fault. Right. And they were giving her these little jokes that were absolutely dying on the vine. And
there's a lot of like self-depreciating stuff, but it's like no one knows who you are.
Yeah, like, yes. You can't be like I'm kind of a dope. It's like, well, are you? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So immediately we're like, this is rough. But you know what? We've seen E3 before. We've seen Mr. Caffeine. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Mr. Coffee or whatever, that deranged guy.
Yelling man, you know.
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
Funny. That's comedy to me, is yelling.
So the first category was Best VTuber.
It was Best Content Creator, period. And the winner was a sexy baby anime girl. Joe, I'll say this
I had fight or flight response, and I'm going to preempt it with, like, I'm well aware. Like, she spoke. We listened to her acceptance thing. Was like, this is obviously very great for me because, like, and to be clear, we are aware that she has a medical condition that keeps her from, like, leaving. So this is obviously a wonderful alternative to reach people. I get that. It really still turned on my fight or flight response.
So the sexy baby voice is so scary, and like it really is anti-life to hear. And here,
who wants it? Like, there has to be enough people that are like, yes, I love jacking it to this because it continues to exist.
I mean, it's not just her. This is an industry-wide thing, and also just the watching the VTube avatar move. Because I've never watched a stream, folks. I've never done it. I'm not going to do it. So I don't know if this has just been around the whole time. But I was seeing this fucking 3D model bopping around, and I wanted to pull out my like Castlevania whip and like throw a cross at it. I'm just like, no. And part of it is because I've made this very clear in the past, and this is another thing I'm out of touch with. I don't fucking understand when people, like, have opinions about which anime girls are the cutest.
Your take is grains of sand. You are going through a big burlap sack. You are pulling them out and being like, this one is a keeper.
It's like, are you going to look me in the eye and tell me you can tell the fucking difference between any of these?
None of them are Luca, okay? None of them are Luca or Bulma. And those are the
Yes.
only two types of babes.
Yes, it's true. You're correct. It's all just like you start with the standard anime girl face that are all exactly the same, and it's like a fucking character creator. There's just a bunch of accessories and shit you can put on their heads, and all these VTubers, in order to be unique, had to put more and more shit on their heads. And I just get overloaded because I'm like, there's just too much stimulus. There's too much shit on their head. I'm playing Final Fantasy 12. There's the fucking bunny girls in that one. Everyone loves the bunny girls.
It's not a costume. They're born like that.
They look like shit. The ears look fucking fake. Every time there's animal ears on an anime girl, I just say, you got some dumb shit on you, head. That looks wrong. Take that. To me, it is exactly the same as if they were wearing a big foam sombrero. It's just a stupid hat, and I know that there's probably some listeners out there who are like, foam sombrero, OMG, mother, they ate. Shut up. Some of us have taste. The phone sombrero is stupid. And we were talking about the Game Awards. Also, the Game Awards, you would think, based on the title, would it contain some Game Awards? No.
It did not leave me feeling good about my hobby, which I don't even feel good about when it's just existing in my head by itself without, this spectacle reminding me that, like, this is your fellow consumer base.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was like, this is gaming's big night. And they would have, like, a 6-minute ad for Lego Fortnite. And then they would literally say... Okay, I know in all award shows, there's some awards that you kind of gloss over because they don't matter. So I'm thinking that's probably like best engine. Like, what's the best? Like, no one cares. Best action game. Action games. Like, one of the most popular games. Best action game was read off in literally 3 seconds. It was astonishing.
Was it Fortnite?
I don't fucking know what it was. Who cares? It doesn't. It was. If you don't have a guy come up and grab an item. In what sense was the award given? That I don't think anyone won.
That's true. It was all fake.
It was fucking
It didn't
fake.
count.
It didn't count.
There's no naked gold guy. It has to have a naked gold guy.
Cuz like an award is all throughout for thousands of years. Awards have been little guys, little nude men.
Yeah.
And like this Game Awards is trying to say that our hobby, our culture is okay with awards just being like Jeff said. But Jeff said.
You know what they found next to the Pompeii guy who died jacking off? Was a trophy.
Pornography. A trophy.
It was a trophy for jacking off. But I'm saying throughout mankind, trophies and awards have to physically be given.
They had to physically give it. There was also... Okay, this is actually good. I love this now because Best Indie Game was another one of the categories that got blasted through. It's so funny because after 15 minutes of ads, you can tell that fucking Game Award Jeff is like, oh shit, fuck awards, and he blasts through 6 of them in a row. It's like best RPG can be Final Fantasy 16. It's gonna be that one, or it could be this one. Tales, was there a Tales game? I don't know. It's Final Fantasy 16. Next one, best soundtrack. That's gonna be a Final Fantasy 16. I don't know. It's just he's blasting through these. And the best indie game was Sea of Stars, which I'm on record. I'm a Sea of Stars hater. That game, it's one of those games that's it's like a new Chrono Trigger. It's like we're picking up the torch from Chrono Trigger. And
no one has ever done that. That's never happened.
I'm sure I would find the game just fine if they didn't. And I know also someone's going to be like, oh, well, comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare. I'm not comparing. They compared. And by doing so, they have damned their game. Every single part of it is just weak fucking store brand shit next to Chrono Trigger. I can't say enough bad things about Sea of Stars. The graphics are pretty good. But whatever. Anyone can make good graphics.
They also said we are announcing Blastfelt, who's like, I guess, like a Guilty Gear guy. Everyone really liked Blastfelt.
That's a made up person that I put in the document. Show that's not. There's no Blastfelt. My thing about the Guilty Gear announcement is like Guilty Gear, the new one, has been out for like 3 years. How are there, like, when are they gonna run out of Guilty Gear people that people already know about? Like, I know about, you know how many Guilty Gear characters I know about? Fucking none. So like when Blastpelt comes out, I'm just like, is this a new person? Everyone's like, oh my god, Blastpelt. They changed her up so much from last time. Like, what do you mean last time? Like, what? So this is a character who's been in Guilty Gear before, and they didn't put... Maybe it's because the only fucking fighting game I play is Smash Brothers. It's inconceivable.
And Mario's going to be in there. Like, they have a very additive approach.
Yes.
If it gets added to the game, generally speaking... it continues to be in future iterations of the game. I mean, that's Capcom really gets to be so evil with this move because, like, they'll do Street Fighter and they're like, Ken is on vacation and you all need to give him money so he can catch a flight back. Can you clap loud enough at home to bring Ken back?
What happened to that weird guy from 3 who's got like his hand behind his back and has like a disgusting melting face? You know that guy?
I can't believe how fast they were like indie games. They're just like, next is some fucking lame shit. I don't care.
I remember there was a lot of controversy over Dave the Diver being nominated for Best Indie Game because actually, although Dave the Diver is sort of a small scale 2D pixel game, it's made by a Korean studio that has like billions of dollars of capital. Like, they are so big.
Sounds like those Koreans are the fucking smartest people that have ever lived.
I mean, yeah, I agree. You use your awful MMO that kills people to make the golden egg that lets you make Dave the Diver. But everyone was so mad.
Imagine your tech fortress. You have a high rise. And you do your big company-wide meeting, and you're like, are you ready for our next big endeavor? It's this quaint cooking game about this portly guy.
There's a couple of fun little gameplay loops.
Everyone does the Banjo-Kazooie talk, which is fun. Yeah.
None of the gameplay loops last long enough for you to get sick of them before a new one shows up. And, the cutscenes are funny. But everyone was so pissed off. How dare you say Dave the Diver is nominated for Best Indie Game? It's not independent at all. And then Game Award Jeff was like, independent is a state of mind. No, it's fucking not, Game Award Jeff. And all this, everyone was getting upset. I saw so many posts, so many people getting mad. And then like, well, what is it? There is no Best Indie Game Award. You can't have my award is Jeff said. Jeff said is not a trophy. Anyone can say anything. God damn.
Also, part of being out of touch is realizing that, like, you're just ignorant. You didn't know important things. Mm-hmm. Like, you were just an idiot baby in the face of truth, and you refused to take it inside you, and you just continued to bumble blindly.
Yeah.
For us, it was finding out recently that when... I don't know if I can do this.
You can do it, Joel. You have courage.
When British people wash their dishes, they put suds on them.
Yeah, that's normal.
And then they're done. They just put them away.
Surely, I'm not going to do the bit. Yeah, I heard about that, and I told Joe about that. Apparently, British people, well, first of all, this is the most horrific shit in the universe. You know soap? You know that stuff you use on your dishes called soap?
Yeah, I know about soap.
Yeah, they call it washing up liquid, an insane slang term that's way longer than what it actually is.
They don't say soap.
They say washing up liquid.
If I asked for that to a stranger, they would be right to tase me.
It's like, surely you mean cum. But they use their washing up liquid. They suds up their fucking dishes, and then they put them on the drying rack, bubbly.
And I think they look at them for a while, and then they just put them away. And then when it's time to eat, I can only assume everything is slightly soap tasted.
This is why they have their brains the way they are. Soap is not acceptable. It's toxic to humans, and they constantly be having that. Why would they do that? It's not like this is a country that needs to conserve water. It is famously an island.
It's also just wet. It's just a wet place.
It's wet. Put your dishes outside. They're gonna get rained on. What is the? Do they think they're saving time?
This really questions the validity of Great British Bake Off, because if Paul Hollywood says your flavors aren't right, is he actually saying, like, where's the soap?
I mean, I think so. Because consider this. When they talk about churros, they call them churros. So their food opinions like are already fucked. And also, I mean, it's very funny to have a British food show be this worldwide, like, ambassador, because, I mean, anytime Paul Hollywood says a flavor is too strong, you know every other country is going, ah.
Yes. If you put rose water anywhere near it, he hates it. He fucking can't stand it.
Remember when, I forget what season this was, or what even the competition was, but someone was doing something that was peanut butter and jelly. Maybe it was like a pie or a tart or something, but peanut butter and jelly were the main flavors. And Paul Hollywood acted like he had just said, like, my two flavors are gonna be ham and human shit. Like, he was like, are you seriously gonna put peanut butter and jelly together? Are you insane? That sounds pretty bad to me. I don't know, where's the soap? And then when he finally had it, he's like, you know, this actually tastes like it might have some soap in it. I understand now.
The other thing that makes me feel out of touch is the computer. And I don't mean like, the computer is too complicated. I mean, it is, but the computer is getting complicated in ways that are just stupid and annoying. When Discord was like, hey, we have a Steam store now and a currency, and there's 8 little tasks that you might be interested in doing, I've never felt the life drain out of me harder. It just feels like that will never be for me, and that's fine.
Discord is really a confusing thing, because, like, we use it for to be texting and to be doing one-on-one calls for podcast show. And to me, that is like the beginning and end of Discord. And every single time I start a call with Joe, there's this big, awful pop-up window that I don't understand that, like, covers everything up. And I don't know how to make it go away. And I'm always scared I'm going to hang up by accident. That's trying to get me to buy, like, Discord Nitro backgrounds. And I'm seeing right now, I'm looking at my computer screen. I'm not even doing a bit right now. And there's the sidebar, and there's 3 things. There's friends. Now, this I understand. Next, there's Nitro. And I'm like, I don't get why I would ever buy that, but it's the way that they want me to buy a thing. You know, I don't know what benefits they could possibly give me, because the only thing I want to do, doing a video call so I can do my podcast show, that happens fine for free. Move 1 down. Shop. Now, what the fuck is this shop?
$5 avatars.
Jesus Christ.
Themed by fantasy, anime, breakfast, you know, all the food groups.
Dude, is this an NFT that is just, like, not blockchain? This is just like, what if your NFT was straight up fucking copyable?
You are paying for cosmetics, so it is effectively the same thing.
I don't understand this at fucking all. Another thing that's I'm out of touch with is speaking of Discord specifically, our Discord, because there is, if you don't know about this, there is an Anime Sickos official Discord server, that was set up because people on Twitter who liked us said, I want a place to discuss the podcast on Discord. And we said, you're going to use this to fucking plot against us and form a
You
little...
will stab us in the back. We know this.
And they said, no, we won't. And so we started the Discord, and people joined and started talking about our podcast. We felt really good. And then I looked away for a little bit. And
3 years.
Looked back at it. And it is a community that is so foreign to me. And this is not a bad thing. I'm not saying anything's wrong. It's just there's so many like 20.
We have a lot of queer appeal. I don't know why.
People.
Why do we have so much queer appeal?
What? Like, how did you show up? Have you listened to the show? Do you know what we talk about?
I mean, I get it from a economical perspective. Like, if I probably had to, like, get a mortgage now with this rate, I would be like, okay, let's see what Poly opens up in terms of spending options. But, yeah.
For housing purposes, everyone needs to sleep in one big bed like the grandparents from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Being Poly is just like, well, while we're all down there, why not try
touch some knobs.
Sucking on a sausage.
Knob is just the best in terms of, like, an all-timer term.
It's so good. You remember when? Did you ever hear this? Did you ever listen to this back when it was popular? Back when you had to listen to podcasts on iTunes. But there was the Ricky Gervais show, and this was before Ricky Gervais became like the epic gender man, you know? We didn't know yet. He was just the guy who made The Office we really liked. But there was the Ricky Gervais show where he and Stephen Merchant would make fun of Carl Pilkington, who was a funny guy. And there was like one of the catchphrases was they were discussing, would you eat like a kangaroo penis or something, because there was some news story about it being like a, you know, something you could get in like a restaurant maybe. I don't know. Probably not even that. But there was some reason they were talking about eating some type of animal penis as a cuisine. Would you do it? And what Carl wanted to say, if I were to rephrase it, was I probably would be down to try it. Seems fine to me. However, it seems like sort of a heavy thing, so it would have to be for dinner. I wouldn't eat it for lunch or breakfast. What he said was I could eat a knob at night, and they went nuts. And they kept talking about I could eat a knob at night. They made a techno remix of him saying I could eat a knob at night, where that's the hook. Remember that? Did you listen to that ever?
No, I never liked Ricky Gervais that much.
Did you ever? Did you not like The Office?
His thing, and it's funny to be clear, is just like, it's just so uncomfortable. Like, I know that's the space he plays in. I don't mean like, oh, you're triggered. I mean like in The Office, it's just like he's the most like ignorant, uncomfortable man of all time.
Yeah.
And like I just can't like I can't do that. I need 30 Rock where... Okay, so the reason the Ricky Gervais stuff in The Office is, like, painful, it's because, like, the show takes great pains to, like... He's annoying and weird, but he's, like, a person, though. Like, he's, like, a guy, okay? He has, like, goals and stuff. Compare that to 30 Rock, where, like, no one's a person, okay? Mm-hmm. I will never feel... like that about anything that happens in 30 Rock because the stakes aren't real. It's live action Simpsons.
Like Pete Hornberger on 30 Rock has objectively a worse life than David Brent from The Office. But you never feel sad for him. Like when you hear about how miserable he is this week, you're like, fucking Christ. I will say, though, a lot of what's good about his early shows, was Stephen Merchant writing, because obviously, as you know, once Ricky Gervais is on his own, he becomes bad. But there's there's an extended bit on his next show, Extras, where his agent won't write down the name of the show that he's pitching, and eventually gets made. Because it's called When the Whistle Blows. And he writes down when the W blows. And He's like, can you just write down the whole name of the show? He goes, no, I'll remember it. When the wind blows and when the whistle blows. And then later, when the show comes out and it's getting terrible reviews, his agent is like, cheer up. I found a great one. Like, this show is a great a great time for the whole family. Some of its best scenes feature a roly-poly toad. And he looks up and points at Ricky Gervais. He's like, it's a fucking review of Wind in the Willows. And he's like, yeah, that's your show, right? Fuck. That's how out of touch I am. I'm talking about a show from fucking 2004. What were we talking about?
We're out of touch.
We're out of touch.
We're always on topic because the topic is we're out of touch.
I don't understand. I look at the Discord. People are like, OMG. Everyone I know is talking about this new Gundam. The Gundam girl is so cute. And I'm just like, what the fuck? You talking about anime? You fuckers watching anime? I don't get it. It's scary to me. I guess this just happens when you get old.
But getting old is actually sick as hell. Because, like, I think it was Socrates or Aristotle. I can't remember which one. It was some Greek pedophile, okay?
But you repeat yourself.
Some Greek pedophile wrote about the stages of a man's life. When you're young, the idea is that you are too passionate. Like, you have energy, but you do not have long-term thinking. You act with short temper. And then rash, absolutely. And then conversely, a man in his older years, an elderly guy, he is knowledgeable and wise, but he's like too risk adverse because he's like inherently scared.
He doesn't want his house to lose value.
Yeah, exactly. The correct age in which you have all benefits and no downsides is 35. What is so fucking funny about this is that he was 35 when he wrote this. This is so funny. Just like, yeah, and guys who are my age, the best.
It's one of those things where it's just like you clearly Aristotle or whomever was like, I want everyone to read this and think that I've like reasoned it all through and come to the only logical conclusion, when it is so clearly like, I feel like a genius. Like, I'm so cool, and I need to work backwards to figure out why I'm the best.
I had a college philosophy teacher who like emphasized the fact that like he was 35 when he wrote this, and like I don't think this was the intention, but it made me realize, oh, these are just fucking guys.
Yeah.
Like
fucking guys, man.
They're just fucking guys. Oh man.
I'm gonna do an episode about this when I finish Don Quixote, but I'm reading the classics, and like part of what's so funny is that these books, these classics, are sort of built up as like this is homework. This is like king homework.
It's high art. This is more than the ballet.
This is king homework. But then you read it, and it's like this is some guy fucking around. That's what I do. Like, I do that. I'm not saying that my writing is as good as Don Quixote, but I am saying it's better than Don Quixote. What's very funny is that 35-year-old shit was said thousands of years ago, back when the Game Awards had just been invented. But this is actually posted fucking today. You sent this to me, and I was just so sure that it was like a classic post that you had dug up because it's relevant to what we're talking about today. This is the Internet Hippo saying, young people screaming at old people that they're out of touch. Old people screaming at young people that they're naive. Only the perfectly wise 35-year-old poster reigns supreme.
This is powerful thought from antiquity. That's what this is.
Yes. And you know what he says? You know what it means? Timeless. Timeless. We've changed so much, humanity. The concept of a nation, the concept of culture, the concept of truth. You know, what even you do in a day? You be on your phone all day. That's not... Aristotle could never have even thought about a phone. If he thought about a phone, he would be thinking about one of them rotary phones, no doubt. Because he could not even think about the cell phone like we have.
Would you show him the rotary and the cell phone and be like, this one might be easier to take in?
Yeah. He would be like, oh, fucking sound. I got that. You try to show Aristotle a TikTok, you probably start jacking off.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Anywho, time. The more we change, the more we stay the same. Being in your mid-30s makes you a genius. It's actually fine to not know what the new music is, because the new music probably isn't very good. Every time I hear a new song,
because if it was like, okay, look, if the music was any good, it would have been made when we were younger.
Block Party Silent Alarm came out like a long time ago. We finished with that. I don't know why that was my go-to for like the perfect music. It is like the ultimate example of like that mid-2000s like pitchfork indie rock. I listened to it recently, and like a lot of that old shit does nothing for me now. But Block Party Silent Alarm, I'm just like, whoa, this whips my ass. They never put out another album that was any good.
MGMT is such a specific point in time.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked at the college radio station, it was like always on, because we had, when you're not doing a show, there's an auto playlist, and it was popular, so I heard that shit all the time, and it is like the most 2009 feeling I can feel.
That one?
Yeah. The issue is that it's not that, like, Tom's actually kind of not being truthful at the moment, because he's saying new music's probably not very good. What's actually the case is that listening to new music is just 1,000 times harder than listening to something you already know. And every year you live, it becomes 1,000 times harder.
Yeah. Like, consider this, folks. Turn your mind back in time. If you're Polly, you can't do this because you're not old enough. But turn your and turn your minds back in time. I will never. This is a joke. Joking parody. I respect Polly people so much. I understand it's a real thing, and it's just not for me. But it's totally valid. And I know that I'm wrong to have this impulse, but I cannot kill the impulse that's in my head. That's like, you're having fun now, but eventually you're gonna like become normal, right? Parody. That was a joke.
No.
You don't get mad at me. Fuck. Turn your mind back in time to the mid-90s. It's Santana and Rob Thomas, Smooth. Everywhere you go, you're hearing Smooth. You're hearing it from the cars. You're hearing it in your car because it just came on. You're hearing it everywhere. You're hearing it in the store. Santana Smooth. It feels like this really is defining the time when you're 8. Is that Santana Smooth, just like the ocean under the moon. Everyone's listening to Santana Smooth. If Santana Smooth came out today,
they couldn't make it. It'd be too woke, right?
It'd be too woke for one, or not. It's due to woke. You could not give someone your heart and make it real, because you need a heart to live. Woke says that now. No, but like nobody wanted to listen to Santana in the mid-90s. If you ask anyone on the streets, like, you want to listen to Santana, and they say, are you trying to say Satan? Because yes. But like, no, it's an old man who does doodly-doo guitar solos, and like, that sounds like utter shit to me. And yet, Santana Smooth absolutely dominates and it's the song of the summer. Everybody loves Santana Smooth. Now, fast forward to today. Take the most popular singer. Now, I don't even know what this would be. I'm pulling one totally at random from the depths of my memory, and I don't even know if this person's relevant anymore. I'm going to say Ariana Grande. Is she popular? Probably. If Ariana Grande had a hit new single, I cannot even... Like, I couldn't tell you the first step that would have to happen for me to hear it. I haven't listened to one of her songs ever. It just doesn't occur. Like, whatever distribution channels there once were to, like, get stuff to people is gone. Like, now the distribution channel is like, all this shit is in the trough for free, and we did it by killing every musician. Eat up, hogs. And... well, would you believe I'm going to listen to a lot of The Replacements and Destroyer if that's all that's going to happen?
I don't even like looking at my Spotify Wrapped anymore because most of it is just ambient stuff I put on to like not be insane. So when it's just like, this is what you're made up of, white noise, it's not really a great feeling. Like, I think it like the first song that actually had like lyrics on my Spotify Wrapped, the song that had lyrics that was the most played after like many entries of lo-fi beats to chill to was I'm downright amazed at what I can destroy with just a hammer, which is an Adam and His Package song. And I'm 90% sure the reason I have that played so much is I was trying to grind hammer parts in Monster Hunter.
You thought it was funny.
Yeah, I needed to like get into like the mindset because it is that's what hammer's great for. It's like, yeah, I just get to break everything.
It's very the appeal of the Spotify, again, this is another way I'm out of touch. The appeal of the Spotify Wrapped, and I understand that there is an appeal, but it does not apply to one who only listens to 5 bands. So like the top 5, it's like, you're never gonna believe this. Top 5 bands. Number 1, The Replacements. Number 2, Destroyer. It's just like, okay, we don't need to keep going.
Did it tell you what was the location most like you? You know how it's like, you have, although you are in Chicago, you have a listening profile, and this was the case for me. It's like, oh, you got Portland energy. Did you remember what it said for your location?
I got Berkeley because I listened to Sleater Kinney. Which, shouldn't that be Portland? Oh well. It was so lame. The other funny thing was, it's like, these are your top played tracks this year, and it was just the track list of the album Plosives by Plosives in order. And it's because I listened to it like 10 times in a row, and then I'm like, I got enough of this, and I moved on. And it's like, I listened to nothing more than like, what the fuck. Also, when I do hear new music, it's all just like really echoey, and like there isn't like a melody, and it's just someone kind of doing like a mumbly sing. You know, just doing a mumbly sing, they're doing that voice where they don't sound normal. And it's like, do people like this? Am I just like getting a bad sample size? Is this it now? Why don't people listen to the Streets of Rage 2 soundtrack like I do?
And like, if you're stressed, you can listen to the Underwater Donkey Kong Country song, because it's very meditative, reflective. It gets your nen going.
I saw the twinkle in your eyes. I'm like, you're going to talk about Donkey Kong Country. Contact Pursuit, you're going to talk about Donkey Kong Country. I was right. I can't believe it.
You know why it's such an important piece of music is that as a kid, I hated underwater things. I was scared of underwater, like both like me being underwater, and also just like, I don't like when Mario was underwater either, because he could get killed by the various things down there.
Sonic does drown in front of you.
He doesn't care. He looks at you as he does it. He's like, you did this to me. But for Donkey Kong Country, like, I played it, and I wasn't even like freaking out, because the music immediately is like, yeah, you're gonna die down here, but like, it's fine.
Yeah, everyone dies eventually. This is just like
yours will just be a watery grave.
Yeah, I mean, and this is sort of it reminds you of the water of the womb. In fact, this is comforting. Gross. Don't ever say that I said that. If you say that I said that, I'll deny it. Both because I said I will, and also because, like everything I've said on this show, I will forget it. That's the other thing that I'm out of touch with. People on the Discord will mention specific jokes and gags and bits we've done, and be like, whoa, that wasn't that such a good bit? Or like, what episode was it that you did that bit on? And brother, I don't remember that bit at all. That bit is brand new to me.
That doesn't sound like us. I don't think we did that.
I'm pretty sure if I were to go back into the archives and tally up every bit and joke that we've done, like verbatim multiple times, I'm thinking at least double digits.
Like, these are other people. Like, we didn't do this. We're getting Cloud and Zacked here. Like,
oh my God, Joe. Another thing I'm out of touch with is I don't get the whole Zack shit. So you haven't played the Final Fantasy remake.
I haven't played the remake. I played the original a lot.
So there's Zack. Tell me about Zack.
Okay, so basically the main thrust of Zack as a character is that we spend the beginning of Final Fantasy VII with Cloud, who's like a cool guy from Soldier doing terrorism, and he has all these memories of like Sephiroth doing shit and like working in Soldier and stuff. And actually, that's not true. What he was thinking about is this guy he had a crush on named Zack. So basically, he did a self-insert into Zack's life.
And it's also very funny because Aerith, his girlfriend, also was Zack's girlfriend first.
Yes, it's very. He's like it's. I like the choice insofar as the main character, the protagonist, is literally a nothing guy. Like he's just blank. I like that aspect of it because that's what a JRPG guy is.
Yeah. He's a nothing guy who's also like a big loser. Like if someone did that in real life, you'd be like, oh shit.
But at the beginning of the game, you're like, he's cool guy because he jumps off a train, which is like the coolest thing you can do.
Also, he can pick that sword up. Like he's holding it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not a poser in that regard. Although his arms are so skinny. Like they're toned, but he's got like the arms of like a bicyclist. Like they're very toned and narrow. But like there's no way he's picking up that cleaver.
Yeah. So that's the baseline Zack experience. Zack's dead during the events of the game. He died before anything started.
He is Raditz hair.
Yeah, he is. So okay. In the remake, so part of the conceit of the remake is that it is not just a straight up remake. It is like they're making it all over again. They're not
Which is good because it's like a bunch of shit doesn't make sense.
Yes, correct. I played all Final Fantasy VII and I never really got Sephiroth's deal. And I'm like, this is the most iconic villain of any game everyone knows about. If anyone knows anything about Final Fantasy, it's Sephiroth. And like, what's his deal? I'm like, I don't know. He's like a guy.
When Cloud is in the wheelchair, I was firmly like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, I don't know what's going on.
But so there's, the game is sort of expecting the player to know what Final Fantasy VII is and what to expect. And part of the actual plot is sort of your expectations pushing and pulling against what's actually happening, and things are changing. And
this is the same problem as people who grow up watching Star Wars acting in Star Wars.
Yes, but here's the thing about the Final Fantasy remake, because this is mostly good, but what is bad is that they put a lot more Zack in there. And at the end of Final Fantasy VII remake, some shit happens that I don't understand, and then there's like, and because that shit I don't understand happened, things have changed, and we are no longer locked into the canon events of Final Fantasy VII, such as we were in the beginning. And part of that is that Zack is alive now, but also he isn't. And then also there's like a fucking some PSP game called like Final Fantasy Crisis Core that's all about Zack. And then there's Final Fantasy Ever Given, where it's a phone game where you have to drive through the Suez Canal, and and it's all about Zack again, and it's just like, why are we all in on Zack? Why do I have to know about Zack now?
I feel like Square should have, I don't know, put Zack in the game more if he was so important. This has huge like Poochie vibes.
Yeah, yes. Who the fuck is in Smash Brothers? Who's in Smash Brothers? Is it Zack? No, it's Cloud.
I'm surprised there isn't a Zack costume, because it's just like the same guy with the Raditz hair and a different like turtleneck.
Yeah, isn't the whole thing about Cloud and Smash Brothers is that all of his like, because Square is so pissy about their IP, like all of the alternate costumes are just like he's got a different like pin on his lapel.
Oh, that's true. Which is why when there's like 4 people playing Cloud, you can't tell what the fuck is happening.
That's so funny. God damn. You know what? Here's a great segue. This other thing that you wrote down. Joe, you put a tweet here. You gave a tweet. I'm going to read it. It's by some fucking guy called Billy No Mates at Simonam8S. He's a leftist men's right activist. What the fuck?
No, I mean, this is the way you use words to just get, like, to mean anything to anyone. I would not lead with his bio. Just say the statement.
So I wasn't expecting to. I was just sort of giving I saw some shit that made me go nuts. Anyway. An underrated black pill is how boring life becomes after your teenage/childhood years end.
I could not relate less to this. The whole point is not to do stuff. And to get it and then be black-pilled by it. I'm out of touch, clearly. I don't understand. Why do you want homework so bad? Because, like, what I'm getting when people say this, what do I do next? Like, I started my career or whatever. It's like they're looking for constant school-level feedback. Not necessarily everybody, but, like, people do want that. Mm-hmm. And when it's gone, they may not handle it well. But I do not relate to this at all. In fact, it's not a black pill. It's like one of the few things to me that is not.
One of the things about society that's like, actually, this shit's okay. The way that things are structurally set up, it's fine. I definitely agree on account of, man, if I were to tell you the boringest years of my life, that would be my childhood, teenage years. Especially teenage years. Dude, going to high school, especially when you're me and you don't, like, have friends or do drugs or do sex when you're in high school, it's just, like, it's just papers and homework. Like, that's all it is. It's just papers and homework and riding the bus. Like, that is life for 4 of my years. And to think that, like, it's so black-pilled that
we got to get that back. We got to get that back.
I want to get on the bus and do a paper. No, fuck you.
The passion that is associated here, and in general, just with, like, being evaluated, I cannot relate to. Like, every year I know I have to do, like, these performance review things. Like, they're part of corporate culture. They happen. And every single time, I know it's going to happen. I can't stand it. I hate being evaluated. I don't mean, like, I don't like being criticized. It's just, like, this whole process does not feel like we're trying to get towards better work. It's like we're checking my diaper.
Mm-hmm. Putting the hook in the finger and taking a look. Is there shit in there?
Yeah, and also when they're just looking for problems. Like the sort of way to exist in a big company is like, am I a problem right now? No. Good. I will now do everything I can to make sure I am not.
Mm-hmm. I think you're looking at this from a different angle as me, because you seem to really be focused on the grading being the defining thing of the childhood/teenage years. I don't give a shit. What I'm talking about is when I was, again, in high school, I did nothing. And then when I was in college, the big thing I did with my freedom was play a lot of playthroughs of Battlestar Galactica, the board game, Exodus expansion. Which, like, I enjoyed it, but it's objectively not exciting. I didn't do anything exciting until I was 25 and began doing the skewer. Everything before that was just like, I guess I'm going around.
Also, those times being described, you don't have money, which means you're not a person.
That's true. I mean, you could say that this is a societal problem, and it really is. That there are no places that one can be and enjoy oneself that don't involve fucking spending money. If you're not there to spend money, you're a non-person. Remember my story about going to the bar with my wife, and my wife was like, I don't want anything. And they were like, we're allowed to kill you for saying that. That's fair, but also, if you do have money and do just buy a thing, you can go to some cool places.
Yeah.
You can go to Portillo's anytime you want.
You can get it delivered. It's kind of a shithead move, but, like, you can do it.
Dude, okay, so I drive by the big Portillo's that has like the big the snaky like wiggly drive through that has like the team. You don't talk to a window. There's just like a team of people who just like go around and like get your car and like put a fucking sticky note on it with your number and all that.
Right. And they write on the bag and then they do their thing.
Yeah. It's so good. So okay, so I don't know if you've seen this, but it's cold now. Have you noticed? It's cold outside. So what are those people doing? Those poor people who are outside all day taking orders from the people in their cars, the little hogs in their death machines. The Portillo's has provided them with little like tent clothes. I don't know how to put this. It's like they're wearing a phone booth. It's like you look and you see a big like rectangular tent that looks like the skinny piece from Tetris with arms
it sounds
and
like
legs
a pizza
poking
warmer
out.
that you're living in.
Yes, it is that, dude. It looks like it. It looks like they're cosplaying as the long Tetris piece, and they're. I don't know how warm it is in there. It probably is still really cold, but man, it looks funny and fun. Like I want to go in there. Give me one.
I'd take that job. It's funny to compare that to the heat lamps on the train that don't get turned on until March.
And don't work. They're like more lamps than heat lamps. The only time they've really made a difference is when you're standing directly beneath them and you hold your hands right up above you underneath. Then your hands get warm. Nothing else really does the trick. Why isn't the fucking L underground?
It is. Well, L stands for elevated. You're struggling with some basic concepts here.
Okay, why? Fuck you, idiot. Why isn't the train underground? I hate standing out on the fucking platform when it's cold.
Well, the parts that are underground smell like piss. The red and blue transfer at Jackson is, in my opinion, one of the foulest and important cultural artifacts of our time.
Is very pissy. I will take a piss smell over being frigidly cold, standing perfectly still, freezing to death, especially given how long it takes for a fucking train to show up these days. Did you know that so we've complained about Dorval Carter, the ridiculous patronage fucking
He's president of all the trains in Chicago.
Given the job as like a fucking sinecure for being a good boy, he was friends to the right people. I don't know. He doesn't know anything about trains. You can tell by his biography and by his fucking actions. You don't know anything about Jesus. We've complained about that, but did you further know that the CTA's board of directors, half of them, you'd think they would be like transportation experts. Half of them are pastors.
That is so fucked. They should all be pastors.
Otherwise, how do we know that God blesses the trains? How do we know that we're following God's plan for the trains?
Every time a train leaves the station, they should break a bottle of holy water on it.
Holy water is so fucking funny. What a racket. Back when I was a kid, this is another thing that makes my childhood, teenage years boring. Maybe this guy doesn't, could be he does not have this experience and thus doesn't understand this. When you're a child and teen, mom makes you go to church. There's nothing, like, talk about fucking boring. Like, one of the most incredible experiences of my life. This was really like, a tear came to my eye and I'm like, the world has joy and sweetness in it beyond what I thought possible. Was a Christmas morning where I got Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and after we opened all the presents, I slammed that sucker into my N64 and started playing Majora's Mask. And then I was so absorbed by it, given that it is a great game. And then I realized it was like 2. And that means that Christmas happened and I didn't get taken to church. They all went to church without me. And I was just like, oh my God, like again, tears in my eyes. Like, there's a world where I don't have to go to church. And
I can continue to play Majora's Mask.
Yeah. Anyway, the reason I remembered that is because fucking holy water is such a scam. That shit's just water. I mean, oh, you know what it is? It's the same shit as the Game Award being Jeff said. Because all that happens is some priest says some fucking words. He's like, okay, now the water's special. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's fucking water. It's water.
All of this is to say we're geniuses and out of touch. And we will only get more out of touch. And our opinions will become more frustrating. We're going to complain about how kids like Big Band too much.
Yeah. It used to be that you could have a trap beat that you made in your basement over a couple of hours. But no, now you have to have 3 trombones. You have to have 3 trumpets. You have to have the lead sax. You got to have the alto sax.
There was a time in this country when someone would ask you the name of your band, and if you said Cherry Poppin' Daddies, they'd kill you.
That time, thankfully, has never left. But it also used to be. Jesus Christ. I have to do the math and also remember how old I am. I have 3 years in which I will increase ingeniosity before I hit the fabled peak of 35. Unfortunately, at that time, we'll start becoming dumber and worse. And we'll see how the show handles that. But for now, we're geniuses. We're perfect. We have the perfect brains. And it actually helps that we're out of touch, because the stuff that's in now is stupid. Have you heard about Idge Ball? That's the kind of thing that's really dumb.
You can't say that. What is that?
That's what the kids are trying to replace LOL with. They don't want to say LOL anymore. They want to say Idge Ball.
Idge Ball?
Short for I just burst out laughing. Ridiculous. Pointless.
Tom, let's just do some basic quantitative analysis here.
It sounds
How many
racist.
Letters?
5.
How many letters we got?
5.
1, 2, 5. Okay. What about LOL?
That's going to be 3. And buddy, would you believe that L and O are directly next to each other on the keyboard?
Also, LOL as like just an indefinite hanging thing at the end of an insane statement is wonderful.
Oh yes, yes. Anytime you want to like render a sentence a little warped, just put a lol at the end. We need to talk lol.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So okay, when Ickballs got that heft, then maybe we can talk. But I just don't see it.
It sounds racist. It sounds like you're gonna get fucking canceled.
Iggy's. No, I'm thinking there was an N64 game called Iggy's Wrecking Balls. And it's what I'm thinking. It was everyone was like spherical lizards, and you like just used your tongue to knock stuff around. It doesn't matter, but it sounds like you're trying to say that too fast.
Did you ever play Beetle Adventure Racing, which was the Volkswagen Beetle only racing game?
It was kind of good though. Like it wasn't garbage.
I rented it from Blockbuster, but I don't remember what happened. It was because this happened from time to time, where I would rent something from Blockbuster, and then by the time I had to return it, I never got around to playing it, and that was one of them. And like those games have taken on like a mythic space in my brain of like I'm almost scared of them now. And one of them was Beetle Adventure Racing. So like what Ghost of Fate? What like Final Fantasy remake Wraith? That's job is to make sure that the course of fate stays on track. Was making sure that I never had the time to play Beetle Adventure Racing. What did they know? Anyway,
what if you got like really into that the way you did get into F-Zero? Like, what if you were dedicating hours of shaving off Beetle Adventure Racing time trials times? That would be wonderful.
Then I would have become a really cool dude. I would have been very confident in myself a lot earlier in my life. I would have been easygoing. I would have had a lot of friends in high school. Probably smooch someone. Who knows? But it didn't happen. Instead, I did not play Beetle Adventure Racing. But I did rent Star Wars Pod Racer enough times so that I could unlock Sebulba because I wanted to use his flame attack. And then I was devastated to find out that his flame attack sucks ass.
That was the guy who owned Anakin, right?
No, that was the Jew alien.
That was really coded, so like it was. I even as as a kid, I remember being like, "Yee."
You can't do that. I get the same. You know what? I get the same feeling from the Jew alien as I do from saying Idgeball.
Yeah. No,
That's
good.
all. That's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. Thank you for listening to us. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an anime sicko.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.